I'm going to talk a little bit about school finances. There are a lot of changes in money in schools, and I don't mean necessarily less money, which is the case. But in the last 3 or 4 years, one of the frustrating things with running a school is that we really never know how much money we're going to have. And many of you will say, well, gosh, we run businesses, we know that all the time. You know, it's about how much money's coming in, how much money's going. Historically, the funding in schools in the state has been very, very steady and very dependable. The state legislature makes an appropriation, you can count on it, it's going to be there. And then it goes through some intermediaries who follow and push that through the schools. Over the last several years, that money has fluctuated because of some discretionary powers that particular folks have in our state, namely the state superintendent. It's been frustrating for us because when the legislature appropriates funding for schools, it simply goes through a formula and it's pumped out. Over the last few years, more discretion, more power has been given, and it's highly centralized as to when that money comes out and exactly how much. And that fluctuates our budget. So historically, when you run a school district, you knew you were going to have dollars. So it's pretty easy to set up a budget, your personnel costs, your utility costs, your equipment, material costs, et cetera, and you can build a budget doing that. You know, we can argue whether it's enough or not enough, and that's not really the issue. But we've had to make adjustments in the middle of the year because we're not appropriating the entire amount of money that the legislature gave us. That's a problem. It creates headaches for us. You might remember but we've had to make adjustments in the middle of the year because we're not appropriating the entire amount of money that the legislature gave us. That's a problem. It creates headaches for us. You might remember ARA a few years ago, the federal money that came directly to school districts, and that was a huge help. And it was a very large sum of money. Just in Bixby, Oklahoma, it was $1.3 million over a 2-year period. That's a good lump sum, but it was one-time money. So we were able to buy a lot of equipment, we didn't use it for personnel costs at all because we knew it was going to be one-time money. A lot of school districts used it for personnel costs because they had no other choice, and then they hit that cliff, that funding cliff, and when that money ended, they're like, oh, where we're going to come up with to make up this money to hire staff. We were fortunate when else we had to cut back, or we had to watch our money, and our classes went up. And they shot up to over an average of 27. So we made a goal as we're starting to regain some of our money and some of our funding to reduce it. So in 3-4 years, when we used it to buy technology and equipment, materials, and when that stuff starts to wear us out, we're not going to have that sort of funding again to replace it. It's still a concern for us. When we hit the recession, 2 years ago, they were at 27. Last year, we put them down to 26. And our goal this year is to reduce them down another whole 1 student per class to 25. And so far, we're pretty good. We've got a couple that are over that, but we're going to wait till enrollment evens out, and we'll see how that goes. We're going to be able to meet that goal. And then next year, our goal is to get back down to 24. Our overall long-term goal is to get back down to 22. That no class in the district has more than 22 students, with the exception of PE